Good morning. I'm June Crisostomo. I'll be reporting Chapter 3 Information Systems, Organization, and Strategy. Our learning objectives will be to identify and describe important features of organization that managers need to know about in order to build and use information systems successfully, demonstrate how Fortre's competitive forces model help companies develop competitive strategies using information systems, explain how the value chain and the value web models help business identify opportunities for strategy information and system application, demonstrate how information systems help businesses use synergies, core competencies, and network-based strategies to achieve competitive advantage, assess the challenge posed by strategic information systems and management solutions. To begin with, we need to identify first how eBay fine-tunes its strategies. Problems will be losing market share to other online retailers, ultra-competitive and constantly changing marketplace. What the solutions they did was to acquire other business and adjust its business model to maintain online dominance and also purchase of PayPal, deal with Buy.com, allowed eBay to grow and diversify its business. It also demonstrates IT's role in development of eBay organization as it expands and make acquisitions. And finally, it illustrates the challenges of maintaining a competitive advantage in a fast-moving and constantly changing marketplace. The organizations and information systems. The two-way relationship between organization and information technology. The model reflects that the complex two-way relationship is mediated by many factors. One of it is the environment, the culture, structure, and the business process, politics, management decisions. First, we define what is an organization. In technical definition, organization is a stable formal social culture and a structure that takes resources from environment and processes them to produce output. A formal legal entity with internal rules and procedures as well as social structure. In behavioral definition, a collection of rights, privileges, obligations, and responsibilities that delicately balance over a period of time through conflict and conflict resolution. The technical microeconomic definition, as shown in the diagram, where the organization, the product, and the processes would go to the input from the environment that produces the output to the environment. In this particular model, in the in economic definition of organization, capital, labor, and primary production of factors provided by the environment are transformed by the firm through the production process into products and services, which is the output of the environment. The products and services are consumed by the environment, which supplies additional capital and the labor as an input in the feedback loop. In the behavioral view of the organization emphasizes a group of relationships, values, and structure, where the structures relates to the hierarchy, division of labor, rules and procedures, business processes, and culture, while the process relates to the rights and obligation, privilege and responsibilities, values, norms, and people. Moving on, the features of organizations. All modern organizations share some characteristics such as the use of a hierarchical structure, accountability, authority in system of impartial decision making, adherence to principle of efficiency, and other features include routines and business processes and organization politics, culture, environment structure, while the routine and the business processes relates to the standard operating procedure, the SOP, and the precise rules, procedures, and practices developed to cope with virtually unexpected situations. Business processes are the collection of routines, while the business firms is the collection of business processes. The organizational politics is divergent viewpoint lead to political struggle, competition, and conflict, and the political resistance greatly hamper the organizational change. In the organizational culture, encompass set of assumptions that define goal and product, what products the organization should produce, and how and where it should be produced, for whom the product should be produced, will be the most powerful unifying force as we restrain all on the changes. The organizational and its environments, where the organizations and environments have reciprocal relationships, the organizations are open to and dependent on the social and physical environment. Organizations can influence their environments, and the environments generally change faster than organization, where the information systems can be instrument of environmental scanning that act as a lens. In this particular diagram, where the environments and the organization have reciprocal relationship, the environment shape what organization can do, but organization can influence their environments and decide to change environments altogether, where the information technology plays a critical role in helping organizations perceive environmental change and in help organization act as their environment. Moving on, the disruptive technologies, where technology that brings about sweeping change to the business and industries and markets, like for example is the personal computers, the internet, the page rank algorithm, the first and the fast mover followers, where the fast movers are the inventors of disruptive technologies, and the fast followers firms with the size and resources to capitalize on that particular technology. Moving on, the organization structure. There are five basic kinds of structure. First is the entrepreneurial, which relates to the small startup business. The machine bureaucracy relates to the mid-sized manufacturing firm. Divisionalized bureaucracy that includes the Fortune 500 firms, the professional bureaucracy, the law firms, the school systems, the hospital, and the ad hocracy is relates to the consulting firms. Other organizational features relates to the goals, the leadership styles, the tasks, and the surrounding environment, and how the information systems impact the organization and business firms. Well, the economic impacts, well, the information technology changes relative cost of capital and the cost of information, where information systems technology is a factor of production, like capital and labor, and also IT affects the cost of quality of information and changes the economic information. While the information technology helps firms contract in size because it can reduce transaction costs and the costs like participating in markets, and also economic impacts on outsourcing. The transaction cost theory of the impact of information technology on the organization is shown in this particular graph. So the firm traditionally grew in size to reduce costs, and IT potentially reduce transaction costs for a given particular size, where firm is represented by the x y-axis, and the transaction cost represents as the x-axis. And while the agency cost theory of the impact of the information technology as shown in this particular graph, where the firm size represents the y-axis and the agency represents as the x-axis, It tells us as the firm grows in size and complexity, traditional and complex information system, they experience rising agency costs. Moving on, how the information impact organization and the business firms, organizational and behavioral impact, IT flattens organization. Why? It basically the decision making pushed to lower levels. Fewer managers needed, IT enabled faster decision making and increases span of control. In this particular diagram or graph, the flattening of the organizations were the traditional hierarchical organization with many levels of the management. The information systems can reduce the number of levels in an organization by providing managers with information to supervise larger numbers of workers by giving up lower level employees more decision making authorities. Organizational resistance to change. Information systems become bound up to in organizational politics because they influence access to key resources of information, where the information system potentially change the organizational structure, politics, and work. Most common reasons of failure of large projects due to organization and political resistance to change. And the internet and the internet and organization, the internet increases the accessibility, storage, and distribution of information and knowledge for organizations. The internet can greatly lower transaction and agency costs. Example: large firm delivers internal manual to employees via corporate website, saving millions of dollars in distribution costs. While the central organization factors to consider when planning a new system would be the environment, the structure that includes the hierarchy, specialization, routines, business processes, the culture and politics, the type of organization, and the style of leadership, the main interest group affected by system attitude, and, and the attitudes of the end user, the task, the decision, and the business processes of the system will also assist. Using the information system to achieve competitive advantage. Why do some firms become leaders within their industry? It will be answered by Michael Porter's competitive forces model, where it provides general view of firms, its competitors, and environment. The five competitive forces shape fate of the firm. The first is the traditional competitors, the new market entrants, substitute products and services, the customers, and finally the suppliers. The Porter's competitive model is shown in this particular diagram, where it provides that the competitive forces model, the strategic position of the firm and its strategy are determined not only by competition with the traditional direct competitors, but also the four forces in the industry's environment, which are the new market entrants, substitute products, customers, and finally the suppliers. The four generic strategies for dealing with competitive forces enabled by using IT. First is the low cost leadership, the product differentiation, focus on market niche, the strengthen customer and supplier intimacy. While the using this particular as an advantage in information system, the low cost leadership produces products and services at lower price than competitors while enhancing quality of service. Example, the Walmart and the Dell. While product differentiation enable new products or services greatly change customer convenience and its experience. like for example Google, Land's End, and Apple iPhone. We also have the focus on the market, which use information systems to enable focus strategy on single market niche that is specialized within the particular industry. Like for example, Mercedes-Benz. And also, finally, the strengthening of customer and supplier intimacy. The use of information system to develop strong ties and loyalty with customers and suppliers increases switching costs. Like for example, the Amazon. The internet impacts on competitive advantage, the transformation, the destruction, the threat to some industries are like for example for the travel agency, printed encyclopedia, and the newspaper. And also competitive forces still at work, but rivalry is more intense. The universal standards allow new rivals entrants to market, and the new opportunities for building brands and loyal customers bases. Well, moving on, the business value chain model view firms as a series of activities that add value to products and services. Highlight activities where competitive strategies can best applied, primary activities versus the support activities. At each stage, determine how information system can improve informational efficiency and improve customer and supplier intimacy, utilizing benchmarking and industry best practices. The value chain model is presented in this particular diagram, where the support activities and the primary activities are presented, and the sourcing and procurement systems, along with the customer relationship and the management systems. So in this particular figures, it provides examples of the system for both primary and support activities to a firm and its value partners that can add a margin of value to firms' products and services. Wherein the support activities relies on the administration and management and electronic scheduling and messaging system, the human resource like workforce planning system, the technology that relates to computer-aided design system, the procurement that aids to the computerized ordering system, while the primary activities relies on the inbound logistic that automated warehousing systems, while the operations are the computer-controlled machining systems. The sales and marketing relates to the computerized ordering system. The service is equipment maintenance system, and the outbound logistics relates to the automated shipment of and scheduling system that comprises the firm value chain. Moving on, the value web. The value web is a collection of independent firms using highly synchronized IT to coordinate value chains to produce products or services collectively. More customer driven, less linear operation than traditional chain. The value web is represented in this particular figure, where at the center, as you notice, is related to the industry, the firms, the ERP systems, and the core transaction systems, which is surrounded by the customers and its customers' customers, the strategic alliance and partners firms, the suppliers and the suppliers' suppliers, and the indirect suppliers. So on the left side, you may see the supply chain management system, and on the right side will be the customer relationship management system. So this value web is a network of systems that can be synchronized the value chains of business partners within an industry to respond rapidly to changes in supply and demand. Using the information system can improve overall performance of business units by promoting synergies and core competencies. Synergies when output of some units used as inputs to others, or organizations pool the markets and expertise are and provide us this particular synergy. And also the examples would be the merger of bank and the Bank of New York and JP Morgan Chase and purchase of YouTube by Google. The core competencies, the activity for which firm is world-class leader. It relies on knowledge, experience, and sharing this across business units. Example is the Procter& and Gamble intranet and directory of subject matter experts. The network-based strategies take advantage of firms' abilities to network with each other, and it also includes the use of network economics, the virtual company model, the business ecosystem. In virtual and company strategy, the virtual company uses networks to ally with other companies to create and distribute products without being limited by traditional organizational boundaries or physical locations. Example as the Leaf and Foam manages production, shipments of garments for major fashion companies, and outsourcing all works to over 7,500 suppliers. In this particular model, an ecosystem strategic model is the industry as an ecosystem, provided all the industries that relates to each other is contained as the core of this particular model. So this digital firm era requires a more dynamic view of the boundaries among industries, firms, customers, and suppliers, with competition occurring among industry sets in business ecosystem. In the ecosystem model, multiple industries work together to deliver value to the customer. It plays an important role in enabling a dense network of interaction among participating firms. That ends our presentation. Thank you.